Hello everybody and welcome to another Starcraft. It is Friday, October 22nd, 2011. Today we have a 1 versus 1 on the map Xel'Naga Caverns featuring Miles spawning as Blue Protoss, and as the Red Protoss we have a ChitaPrime. Cheetah? Whatever. We're just going to call him Cheetah because that's what I thought of first. So, like I said, this is a 1 versus 1 on Xel'Naga Caverns, and already we have a very early probe scout heading down to the blue base. So this tells me we might see some sort of early proxy, or maybe he's just feeling like scouting really super early. We'll have to see as this probe does come down to the base right now. Already a pylon has gone down from Miles, which is just at 9 supply right now, 10 on the way, and we have a pylon at the base of the ramp already from ChitaPrime. So Miles, of course, did send his probe out to scout, and he already sees everything that there is to see that matters in his base. Of course, that pylon down at the base of the ramp, he is going to send out... Actually, nope, just kidding, he's going to cancel that. So these probes hanging out at the base of the ramp, of course, could block any sort of additional buildings, but Cheetah's probably just doing that for a little bit of harassment, a little bit of joking around. Meanwhile, back in his base, his own pylon is finishing up, and he is building more probes as we speak. Gateway going down, pretty similar builds from both players so far, and of course, Chrono Boost is on the way. So, while both players build, I do want to remind you all to send your bad manner replays to anaristarcraft@gmail.com. It's for a fun little project that I'm going to do, sort of a little compilation video of all the fun bad manner games that you guys have encountered over the past couple months, and the only rule is that you can't be the person doing the bad manner. I don't want to encourage you guys doing bad manner, but if somebody was kind of a jerk face to you, then you can send it to me. So like I said, anaristarcraft@gmail.com. And back to the game, we do have a cybernetics core going down for Miles. Taking a look, he does have a little bit of gas income right now. Got 2 probes working on it at the minute. Meanwhile, up here we do have 3 probes, 2 now working on gas for ChitaPrime. And there is a little bit of probe harassment by Miles, just scouting around, see what is going on in the base. Right now, neither player does have a second gateway, so... But you can see that that Miles' cybernetics core did go down a little bit earlier than ChitaPrime. So, pretty excited to see what happens here as this one probe continues to zap away at the pylon. Of course, Cheetah isn't too terribly worried about that at the present time. He is throwing down a second gateway, so we might see. Usually with Protoss builds, what I've seen is the first person on the Colossus wins. But I do like to see a lot of variation in games. We also do see 4 gates. So we do have warp gate technology research on the way, again, a little bit before ChitaPrime. So, let's see if he takes advantage of that. We do have 1 probe hanging out up here with a Zealot, so looking to see some sort of early pressure against ChitaPrime. Not sure what's going to happen as, of course, this probe is heading out down towards the blue base as well. So, it looks like Miles is going to make a move up in the base, of course, sending the Zealot to distract the other one while this probe runs in. So, kind of looking forward to see what happens here. I'm not too sure what is going on, as we do have 1 pylon going down in the back of a mineral line. Cheetah, of course, responding very quickly with his probes, trying to take that down as fast as possible. But Miles is throwing down a second one and a third one while using the Zealot to stall the Stalker and Cheetah's other Zealot as well. So these probes are going to come out here, try to take down these pylons before any of them warp in. Unfortunately, I don't think that is going to be possible, as this one has already warped in. Warp gate technology, of course, is finished and being implemented into Miles' base at the present time. He does not have any gas income right now, though. I will say that is one thing that ChitaPrime is working on that Miles is not. And of course, I don't really think it's necessary at this point in time for Miles' strategy, because he is focusing primarily on Zealots. You can see he made a beeline right for the minerals, and he's going to... I guess he's maybe kind of dancing around a little bit. He realizes he's not in the best position to attack. Of course, there's only one way to get in right here, and of course he'd have to go through the mineral line as well to get to those Stalkers. Those Stalkers are in a pretty defensible position. However, this one Zealot not going to be able to hold out for very long. Good call on warping in the second Zealot behind it, because it will continue to block off the Miles' Zealots from getting in. So he is going to take the long way around, it looks like. Again, very good placement of the Zealot right here is going to keep any units from running in. The Zealots are continuing to dancing around. You know, this is really good placement by ChitaPrime. He's reacting very well to this push. He is only working off of 2 gateways, which you can take a look down at this base. Of course, Miles is working on 4 gates, so definitely a production advantage. However, again, looking at the income, Cheetah is having to really pull off those workers from the mineral line. He's having to hold them here just to keep any sort of runaround. However, he's not moving them back because, I mean, at this point, he's kind of cornered. So this may be it. I don't know. It's really close right now. It's hard to say what's going to happen. As Cheetah, like I said earlier, he is making very good use of his building placement, keeping zealots in the cracks and whatnot, so Miles is not really able to get in to do anything. The curious thing is, though, Miles isn't getting any gas whatsoever. He is trying to push through this Stalker heavy force with just pure zealots in these really narrow environments, and I really don't think that's the best move, because Cheetah, even though he doesn't have any gas income right now, of course he did just spend the last of it on 2 more Stalkers, which I think is a very good investment. He is microing them here. Very, very good call. That one is just in the brink of death. Microing that back, trying to live for as long as possible. And he's really making Miles work for this attack. You know, he's delaying it as long as possible. He's minimizing the impact on his probe line. Of course, he does have some probes back to mining, and he is using the rest of them to attack the Zealot. But for the most part, Miles is pretty much just stalling him, but not doing an exceptionally good job of it. Of course, with the really good micro from ChitaPrime, keeping these 3 Stalkers alive as long as possible. So I'm kind of curious to see how this turns out. Of course, Cheetah is able to warp in more Zealots, just barely enough to keep these Zealots from Miles from really getting into the mineral line and doing any more damage. I mean, really, I think Cheetah's doing a great job mitigating this attack so far. Of course, he's lost some probes, but this could have been a lot worse. However, Miles is continuing to put the pressure on. He is really going all in on this. He's banking very much on trying to make this attack work, and he's hoping that it's going to get him the win. But I don't know what's going to happen, because like I said, Cheetah has managed to hold his own. He has kept the Zealots at bay. He's done some exceptionally good micro with both his probe placement, his Zealot placement, and the Stalkers, and you can see here that it's really paying off for him. He is still holding on to 3 Stalkers, just barely, this one by the skin of its, I don't know, Stalker teeth or whatever. I think they have heads, so we'll just assume he has teeth too. And I'm sure somebody will get mad at me for that, because I know that, you know, Protoss don't have mouths, but whatever, I don't care, because Cheetah, the important thing, he is now able to come down here and take out this pylon. So that was some exceptionally good play from ChitaPrime. I'm really surprised to see how well he pulled that off. So I believe he will be able to macro up in his base more, maybe get some gas incoming. He may really take advantage of the fact that that Miles really went all in. Of course, he is throwing down his second assimilator here, and he does have the gas income, which of course Cheetah does not at the present time. He's having to use all his probes to get back into the game, still running off of 2 gateways. However, he is trying to go back on the offensive. So I'm pretty excited to see how this turns out. And speaking of that, I do apologize for, I know that I say so, and I say a couple of things pretty often. I will try to work on that. Just know that it is in the back of my head, and every time I say it, I just think to myself, like, crap, I said it again. But I'm going to work on that. I'm going to work into my speech a little bit better, making my cast a little bit more informative, can't talk. Excitement, intensity, action, and so forth. I like pancakes. So, both players are going to macro up just for a tiny bit here. Oh man, this is really close. I don't know if these Stalkers are going to see each other. Yes, they will. I'm not sure if they're going to... Okay, it looks like he is going to lose one right there. Maybe lose a second one. No, that one barely just hung on. But that was some pretty critical information, because that told Cheetah that, you know, Miles is going to continue to push with this low-tier, low-tech build. So, what I'm thinking, though, is that Cheetah, he's still only sitting on two gateways. So, well, he's thrown down a robotics facility. He is really going to try to make this 2-gate robo thing work, man. I'm telling you, I don't know what's going to happen, because there is another proxy pylon at the natural of ChitaPrime's base. I'm really looking forward to see what happens to that, because he is reinforcing it now, again, with a more Stalker-heavy army. He is warping in 4 more as we speak, which will bring him to a total of 9 and 3 Zealots. There are 2 sentries at the top of the ramp, and a force field, which does have a little crack in it. It's maybe able to fit a unit through, maybe a Zealot, but definitely not a Stalker. Sure enough, there goes a Zealot, giving vision to Miles, allowing his Stalkers at the base of the ramp to shoot up at the top. The second force field went down, though. Much better placement. Was able to keep the majority of the units down at the base of the ramp and continue to take some pot shots if he wants to. However, Cheetah is in kind of a pickle. He's really going to have to dump a lot of money on throwing down sentries, on a gas specifically, to keep this attack from coming into the base. I'm not too sure what he's thinking, but, you know, if he can hold on long enough to build up enough gas to get enough sentries to start just a continuous force field rotation, and then start to pump out some immortals to take out these stalkers along with some zealots, I really think he'll be able to turn the tide in his favor. But that is all dependent on how well he will be with placing the force fields and letting things like this happen. I think, though, that Cheetah actually let this happen on purpose, because he was able to take out a considerable number of the stalkers with his zealots. However, I don't think running down here is the best idea, although it is kind of sending Miles a message like, hey, I have the ability to push out. You know, if I want to, I'm just choosing to build up and do my own thing, so to speak. Meanwhile, down in Miles' base, there is still nothing really going on. A couple zealots running around making sure there's nothing in his base, but most of the action is taking place up here. Cheetah, of course, doing a very good job positioning the Stalker to attack the pylons down at the base of the ramp. Oh, however, there is the one pylon back here, so even if he does lose these two, the worst case scenario is he will be hurting on his supply. Of course, you can see that without those two pylons, it would be relatively close. He is continuing to warp in these stalkers, though, and looks like the stalkers are going to get some free shots on the sentries. However, there will be another force field placed down, continuously blocking these units off. I think this the sentry or this stalker was able to get up the ramp just enough to get a little bit of vision right here, but Cheetah did a good job of pulling the zealots back, continuing to keep these stalkers dancing around down here. So he is really trying to get up here and do some damage, but I don't think that's going to happen at this point, especially since this immortal warped in. However, Miles was able to get vision up here long enough to allow some units to warp in. He is trying to use the zealot to chase the immortal. However, the immortal was microed around as well as the other units, and it is now going to be able to start taking pot shots at these stalkers, which is exactly what Cheetah needs to be doing right now. He would take these out very easily as long as this immortal does not die. That is the key thing right now. And I think that is going to be the case, because he is continuing to warp in stalkers, zealots, and plenty of units to tank for the immortal, which is driving off this attack. So that's 2 failed attacks for Miles so far in this game. He's probably thinking to himself he's going to have to mech her up now, because you see he is dropping a robotics facility, and looking at the income again, whoa, wrong button. Looking at the income again, they both are still kind of neck and neck in terms of minerals and gas, but what it's really going to come down to is which player is able to get out and expand and really just make a strong push. Because with this tech, I think that Cheetah is really in a good position to push off any additional attacks with the foregate, depending on where the forces engage each other. He will have to make very good use of the sentries with the force fields and whatnot to keep the stalkers out of range for firing at the immortals. But we'll have to see as both players are sitting in their base now, macroing up. Of course, you can see there are 2 more pylons going down. And looking at the production tab, you can see the robotics facility is on the way for ChitaPrime. So this will really ensure a victory against a foregate, because if Miles goes heavy stalkers, he can go immortals. If he goes heavy zealots, he'll be able to get Colossus, and that'll be game over, especially with the force fields on ChitaPrime's side, keeping the zealots at bay. He is warping in a Colossus right now. We do not have the extended thermal lance upgrade on the way yet. Of course, he is sitting on 200 minerals and just under 200 gas, so we might see that in the near future, as he is throwing down an expansion first before Miles, who is actually having the long distance mine, which I don't quite understand. He would be able to get enough money to build his expansion down here, and maybe if he were to go and scout and see that Cheetah is, of course, expanding on his own up here, he would have the time to do that. But, you know, he does have an observer on the way now, so he might see that, and we'll have to see what action Miles takes next, as, like I said, he does have a little bit of time, it looks like, as both players are sitting in their base continuing to build up. But it's looking more and more like, since Cheetah was able to push off that 4-gate zealot push, he is sitting in an exceptionally good position to win this game. But, like I said, if Miles is able to really make a strong, solid push, he could take this game. So either way, I'm looking forward to see what happens as Miles continues to warp in the low-tier units. He does have a second observer down here on the way. His first one ended up somewhere, yep, there it is right there, checking out the forces. So Miles definitely sees what ChitaPrime is getting. He has seen both Colossi, and he does have the extended thermal lance upgrade on the way, which, if Miles is paying attention, it's very likely. I mean, he has to know that this is the upgrade coming. There's no real strategy that involves these units where you get these other upgrades first. So he has to know that's coming. He is sending one very lonely stalker up here to its death, as well as a probe, which I'll tell you what, man, this probe is he's got to be hating his life right now. Of course, his life is gone, so he can't hate anything. But taking a look at Miles' army, it's all zealots and sentries. I mean, this is going to be very ineffective against the 2 Colossi heavy zealot army. I mean, the zealots are more than enough in number to counter these zealots. There's only 2 less. And I think Miles is, at this point, is thinking it's pretty much just all or nothing, even though he doesn't have an expansion. Sure enough, he had to be thinking this was a bad idea, even though the Colossi did get in a little bit too close. But, I mean, there's the GG, sure enough. I'm guessing he was thinking that was an all-in, because he had to have known that that attack was not going to work. He knew exactly what he was going on to, and he just did it anyway. So, like I said, there's the GG from Miles. And for this game, we're going to leave you with a picture of a zealot getting attacked. Yeah, I don't know. There's nothing really cool about it, but whatever. I hope you enjoyed it, and GG, I'm out.